All right, so we got some help. We got John.
Yo.
We got Chris without his garage. And they're gonna give us a hand. So we're gonna swap the axle over. We're gonna try that and see if it works. I don't know. John doesn't want to do it before the heat gets. It's supposed to be a heat wave this week, so it's like the last day before it gets super hot. So we're gonna disconnect the current one. Still trying to decide whether we're gonna swap over the brake setup, because in order to do that we gotta pull the axles to get the bracket off and on and off and on. So either way, let's get to work. So here's where we're at, guys. If you haven't seen the last video, we picked up a whole Viper swap, so definitely check that out. So we've got the brake assemblies off, rotors are off, calipers are off, unhooked the brake lines from the axle tube, and we're gonna take off our SSBC brackets so we can transfer them over. And you look under here, you can see our crazy neighbors with the razor. And we took off the B&M diff cover, disconnected our drive shaft, and I just finished taking that little puck out of there so we can release the axles. We gotta take the axle out just to get these plates off. So that's the plan. I just gotta take out this little hockey puck thing, and we'll get the axles out so that I can take those off, and then we'll keep going.
It's kind of weird.
It's out. Well.
Hey. Easy.
The piece. Okay, it's off.
It's on.
The magical piece, it's off.
Very nice.
This is all Jonathug's idea.
No, this guy's putting me
He
up.
said, let's take the diff, bench press it out. Ken Kniff. We're gonna take the differential out, everything is loose. Now in theaters, wiggle the hose.
Alright, let's take this out of here.
Alright, Jonathan.
Okay.
We're gonna go down.
Yeah, hold up.
Bad boy. Wait.
Okay, hold up. Hold it right there.
Yeah. Move your
Okay,
face.
right, good right there.
So here is our axle out. Here's the donor one. We're gonna pop the cover, drain the fluid, take the axles out, and that way we can get this thing in here. So here we go. Let's see what it looks like inside. Nasty.
That's gonna stink.
Some Taco Bell.
Nasty.
It doesn't look terrible though.
It doesn't smell bad.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's not that bad actually. There's no chunks or
There's
anything.
so much fucking RTV.
Hey, watch the language. You're gonna get Timos.
There is so much RTV.
Dude, I
You're
spoke
welcome.
too soon. Big chunks.
From the spider gears?
I don't know, but that's a big old chunk, dude.
Let's see, are the spider gears good?
Hey. This might not be no good, boys. Yeah, there's the chunky chunk, but we don't really know what that thing is. I'm not too familiar with differentials, but I mean, everything feels smooth, but there's some pretty gnarly big chunks. Hey, there's some pretty big chunks that we found, but I don't know, it's super temporary, so this axle is only going to be in here for probably a few weeks while this one gets sorted out, if it ends up being the cause. So let's throw her in. Okay, well, it's the next day, you guys. Thanks again to John and Chris for stopping by and giving me a hand of lifting that in here. And now I'm just putting everything back together. So pretty much got most of the stuff ready to go. We got the axle all bolted up, swapped over the flange here. So we got that swapped over. I got my drive shaft connected, and I'm gonna put the brakes on. I'm gonna put the cover on it, fill it with fluid, and then we can get into testing. So hopefully all this work pays off, because it's definitely not easy, and this axle is super temporary in here, so kind of sucks because I know for sure without a doubt it has to come out again, but it is what it is. If it gets rid of the vibration, at least we're a step in the right direction. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna whip right through it, button it up, and then we'll get to testing it. All right, brakes are back on. We got our B&M diff cover back on. She's full of fluid. Everything is tight. So now comes the moment of truth. Let's set this thing back down. We're gonna put it under the weight of the jack stands, and then that way the pinion angle and everything is in you know, operating angles, and then we'll go ahead and try it. Okay, so as mentioned, it's on the jack stand, so this is ride height. Well, at least I think the jack stands might be a little bit low, but you get the idea. At least the suspension, the truck is on the full weight of the suspension. So let's go ahead. We will turn this thing on and see and hope that it doesn't vibrate now. So there we go, we're in drive. Let's see what we got. You guys don't think I'm crazy, look at the mirror. You guys see that vibrating? I hope you guys can see it. Guys, so I'm just gonna leave this video up to the current, you know, situation. Like I said, I'm just taking the days as they come and documenting the process with you guys. So even after putting that junkyard axle in there, it still has the vibration. The only difference is we went from a 323 gear ratio in our built differential to a 355. So all it did was move it higher up in the RPM. So it effectively reduced the top speed. So what's happening now is when I get into 70, you know, the 70 mile an hour range, like I said, 70 to 100 miles an hour, and it starts to really shake the truck. When I get into that range, now it's just at a higher RPM, but I still get into the same vibration. So what I'm starting to think is, if you guys are, like I said, I read the comments and stuff like that. I don't unfortunately get a chance to respond to everybody, but I'll just kind of comment on it because some people did mention it in the comments, and I've obviously been well versed on this. So there is kind of a bit of a phenomenon with Hellcats. They come with a two-piece drive shaft from the factory with a carrier bearing in the middle. I sent this before that we were thinking of maybe building one of those. I think it's kind of coming down to the fact that I probably will end up doing that. And like I said, part of the reason is the stock Hellcat system is made to come off the back of the tail shaft and have a carrier bearing not too far off of where that connection occurs. So what I'm thinking is we put the carrier bearing, and then we have another U-joint that comes across and goes to our differential. So that way the transmission is isolated and it has something holding it, because we're getting some sort of weird resonance or vibration out of that. We did check the angles, you know, coming the transmission to the drive shaft and drive shaft to our differential. So we did have those checked, but I might have to, you know, get somebody who's a little more experienced than myself on that to see what their opinion might be. But ultimately, I think it might be better just to go to a two-piece drive shaft. That way also, if anything ever does happen with the rear end, it's not going to break the back of our transmission, you know, potentially. I mean, anything has the potential to, but you know, if you were to break a drive shaft or something like that, usually it's going to be the one, you know, close to your differential. And if that happens, then it would only break like the mid shaft, so to speak, and it wouldn't necessarily destroy the transmission in the process. If you have a one-piece drive shaft, if your drive shaft breaks, usually it's spinning off the back of the tail shaft of the transmission, and then it breaks your transmission too. So might be kind of some preventative stuff. Like I said, I'm going to do a bit more talking and discussions with some people that can't quite mention just at the moment, but they're helping me behind the scenes. They work with some of the OEMs. So like I said, we have a lot of good minds and a lot of smart people behind this. We're just trying to get to the bottom of it. So if it takes me taking the truck and, you know, bringing it somewhere across the country to get somebody to actually look at it in person, willing to do so, but just trying to rule out as much as I can here before we take it that next step. So hold on, you guys. I just want to tell you right before you go, I did do a little bit of self-checking. I purchased one of these digital angle meters, so you can see kind of, well, hopefully you can see. Doesn't really show much through there. You can see the numbers changing. But I purchased one of these. I went down below, checked it. Even though we had a friend check this, it is way off, you guys. Like, I'm just dumbfounded at how off this is. Right now, the drive shaft goes uphill to our rear axle. So the pinion is actually rotated too far up. It should be a little bit further down, and like I said, our drive shaft is uphill since this truck is lowered. I should have checked it myself, you guys. It's my fault for not checking it, but I think I found most of our issue is in that. So I may still get a two-piece drive shaft built. I'm gonna go talk to John's Drivelines tomorrow, actually. I just want to give you guys this update. I'm gonna try and see if I can get the angles a little bit better myself, since, you know, obviously I'm the one that built this truck, so I'm gonna have to you know, do it right. But like I said, I didn't double check, you know, it myself, and it's way off. So I think that's where most of our issues are. Like I said, kicking myself because I wish I had checked it, but I didn't. I just took somebody else's word for it, and it's like way off. So let me get to the bottom of this, you guys. Catch you guys on the next video.